Okay, so let's just get this out of the way. Oh my god, Zuko is alive! Oh my god, Desna and Eskar are still characters! Oh my god, Zuko and Eskar have a conversation about killing avatars! Oh my god, this is amazing! Spoilers, by the way. Spoilers. Now, I haven't fully talked about Korra yet, or how I felt about the past seasons, though I did mention it in my top favorite animated moments of 2013. I'll probably make a full video at some point, but basically my feelings are the same as everyone else's. It's not as good as the original series, but it does have plenty of its own merits, particularly in the cultural and technological progression of the Avatar universe, which is interesting if lacking, particularly in color palette. I mean, at least it tries to bring up these more mature, complex issues in its seasons that ultimately get abandoned or dropped to fight that season's version of Hitler. Because there's always someone we can beat up to solve our problems. And no, the overall cast isn't as lovable as the original, but there's psychological implications for that, and there are some genuine standouts. But before we take a look at our 3-episode premiere of Legend of Korra Book 3, previously on Legend of Korra, after defeating Unalaq in yet another case of pulling powers straight from the writer's box, Korra then spontaneously decides to take the side of the guy who tried to destroy the world and declares the force integration of people with spirits, despite knowing that the last time this happened, humans were forced to live in isolated megacities because if they wandered into the wild, spirits would just casually possess, disfigure, or kill them. Yeah, aside from the fact that there are lines that both hilariously and terribly imply that the original title of this episode might have been There Goes the Neighborhood.
Why are you forcing the integration of spirits in Republic City?
I could talk for an hour on how this was perhaps the world's most irresponsible, terrible decision based on what we know about the past interactions between humans and the average ignorant person. They have generally not been good. But of course, with a little diplomacy and communication about what both sides need to live, and with the Avatar's help, we can all learn to live together and respect one another. Oh wait, no, we're not going to talk about this. We're not going to talk about dealing with the repercussions of our actions. It's a Deus excuse for why random airbenders have come back into the world. Okay, on the one hand, woo, airbenders! On the second hand, wow, we dropped that complicated subject fast. That has to be some sort of record for Korra. But though we could all spend hours complaining about the intelligence of that call, Tenzin's speech to Korra about the inevitable nature of change was brilliant. No matter what the change, some people are gonna love it and some people are gonna hate it, and you can't really change something already put into motion, as far as we know. I mean, could she close the portals? I don't know. And I know that the general function of the speech to the story is, well, can't do anything about it now, so there's no use talking. Let's move on to the next thing. But in the end, the sentiments that Tenzin says are completely genuine and correct. I mean, it's true, Korra's job isn't just to deal with Republic City, the writers just realized. And since Republic City seems to be the only place having the Vine problem, and they just exiled her for trying to solve the problem, so yeah, this place. I do still think that the most important immediate action that should be taken is spirit-human diplomacy. At the same time, random people all over the world are spontaneously getting superpowers. I'm sure that's not going to cause any sort of major global upheaval. So wait, in one episode, we sort of successfully waved aside the massive terrible consequences of the season finale. We've established a new concrete, clear goal for this season. We've introduced our new antagonist, and we're leaving Republic City? Talk about an effective opening! Episode 2, The Rebirth, was mostly dedicated to seeing how asking people to uproot their established lives for a life of isolated vegetarian meditation isn't going that well. The highlight was probably the spot-on portrayal of a typical millennial. I mean, this scene bordered on existential enlightenment.
Well, I didn't ask to be the Avatar, but I am, and I'm fulfilling my duties.
So, you don't have to.
Yes, I do have to.
No, you don't.
Ah, it's brilliant. It's like they merged Napoleon Dynamite with Shikamaru. Why didn't they recruit this guy, even forcefully? I would have loved to have seen more scenes with him. But the important thing that happened in this episode was the introduction of Kai, the first willing airbender recruit, who immediately spouts such a blatant roll of sappy BS that you know it's fake. It actually kind of reminded me of something.
My parents died when I was real young, so I went to live with some distant relatives, but it was so horrible there I couldn't stand it. My grandmother would get drunk and hit me all the time, and my weird uncle was really mean. If I have to go back to that place, I don't know what they'll do to me. Oh boy, I'm dead. Nobody's dumb enough to buy such a lame story. It's the worst one I've ever come up with.
And there's two things that need to be said about Kai. One, oh my god, it's little baby Sokka! Oh my god, I miss Sokka so much! Why don't we hear more about what happened to Sokka post-Avatar? Oh man, I miss Sokka. And two, I hate this kid. Now I know that that's the point. He's a scumbag now, but he's inevitably going to change and he'll see the error of these ways. But my question is, how long do I have to endure sociopathic manipulative toolbox Kai before that happens? And at that point, why even care about him anymore? A good character should be enjoyable to watch and have some merits before their big character change. But now, all I'm seeing is a self-satisfied, manipulative little dick who gets what he wants with no repercussions. I don't enjoy that as adorably close to Sokka as he looks. I guess we'll just have to see if, oh my god, he got thrown in jail by the Dai Li, thank you! Oh yeah, and Zuko has a dragon, And I also really liked the airbending demonstration. You know, Bolin and Boomy really should have more scenes together. It seems to be the only time their comedy gimmickry tends to have any profitable results, as opposed to just bothering everybody else who actually does things. Episode 3, The Earth Queen, is basically one giant reaffirmment of Toph's original sentiment of Ba Sing Se.
Worst city ever.
The new Earth Queen is a prideful, demanding extortionist who is being very uncooperative when asked about where the airbenders are in Ba Sing Se. Gee, this kind of sounds familiar to something. Oh, those Dai Li, working for corrupt tyrants for over 70 years. Which isn't even the only tie to Avatar history that's referenced. As we know from the promise, it was decided that the fire colonies would not be removed from the Earth Kingdom, and she is still miffed about not getting those lands back. See, that's the kind of world building I like to see, when the decisions in Avatar have consequences in the future. Why aren't you turning the comic books into series already? We see that Desna and Eska are now rulers of the Northern Water Tribe. Awesome. And there's, believe it or not, a really good scene with Mako and Bolin finding their estranged family on their dad's side in Ba Sing Se. Yeah, what are the chances out of the whole city? But Mako gives the grandma his dad's scarf and they see a picture of their parents. Oh, it's so nice. But above all, what was probably the best moment of the premiere, aside from that moment I geeked out about earlier? That's right, the evil Planetary reunion! They don't have a name yet, so I just gave them that name. But seriously, these jailbreaks are amazing. These were the visual highlight of the premiere, and my god, I can't wait to see where this goes. And does that chick not have arms? Oh wow, that chick does not have arms, and that's why she's doing the, this is so cool. Probably not a good sign that this subplot overshadows the one with our, protagonist, but it's the beginning of the season. You got a lot of time to catch up. The roundup? This was a really great season premiere. In fact, this feels a lot more like the original series than anything else in Legend of Korra so far. And that's not just because we're seeing specific callbacks like Zuko and the Dai Li and Ba Sing Se, but we're traveling again. We're not trapped in one brown 1920s New York Chinatown. We have a mission and a goal and potentially awesome people to fight. As for our character roundup, Korra is refreshingly likable this season so far. She starts out believably conflicted about her actions in the last finale, as she should. She still might be overly aggressive, which, let's face it, is her personality constant, not the flaw to be eventually overcome, but the mission of finding airbenders is putting her energy into something positive and productive, as opposed to just being blatantly wrong about something and shouting at Tenzin for it. Yeah, they do need to find an alternate way to show Korra's growth. But she's not dealing with a romantic interest and instead palling around with Asami, which is so cool. I do wish that Asami had more to do than just being that rich friend that can get you stuff, and I really hope that their friendship gets more time. Tenzin surprisingly had a lot of growth in season 2, and I'm really glad to see that continuing. He's still appropriately wise and supportive, but still stubborn in his ways, and I admit I'm really happy that he's excited to train new airbenders. And the same with Jinora, the most tolerable of Tenzin's children, which thankfully the rest will not be here. I am happy that Boomy's an airbender. I just wish he had a more effective role in the group, which I'm finding too often to be the description of most of the characters at this time. I mean, what are you two doing here? Really? I mean, yes, I like the scene where they meet their family, but they have just been dragged so far. Bolin's role is still to say unfunny shtick and nothing else, and Mako's is to have Zuko's angst but none of Zuko's actual problems. Honestly, Mako, you really would have been more useful in Republic City, because apparently right now you are having Avenue Q Princeton problems because you don't know what your purpose is. And in the meantime, we just have to stand around watching him being awkward. So please have these guys have something to do soon, and please have it be something other than Kai. Unless you can have the whole family thing actually be relevant after Kai gets over being an ass. Lin Beifong hasn't done much yet, but I heard that she's going to be more featured this season, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then, Zuko. But here's a question. What would we really have preferred? The original old Zuko or Dante Bosco's General Iroh to come back? Because he really hasn't done much yet, and I really wanted to see Iroh do more stuff. Oh my god, have a scene with Iroh and Zuko together. Please let that happen. So yeah, I'm really excited for Season 3. All flaws taken into account. But seriously, if you stick us with another love triangle, well, I'm probably still going to watch it, but I'll be very miffed. So I guess I'll see you in 2 weeks, Animaniacs, because, it's not like I've seen the leaked episodes or anything. That would be wrong.